Hey everybody, Mr. Will back here with you again. We're on part 2 of this series on building a shade cover for a raised garden bed. So you've seen some of the materials, but what I want to do is I want to run through very briefly all the materials that you'll need to build a similar shade cover at your own house, or maybe if you're part of a community garden and you want to build one over your bed, you'll know how to do that once we're all done. All right, so first thing, the shade cover, maybe one of the most important aspects of it. You can't have a shade cover without the material. Already talked about this, but it's just a basic screen that knocks out or blocks out 70% of the UV rays. And so this is going to go over the top. This is actually going to be our shade cloth, our shade cover. So it's going to go over the top when we're done. So that's something you're definitely going to need. You've also seen the PVC pipe here that I have. This PVC pipe, I have 4 different pipes here for different parts of the actual structure. It's 1.5 inch PVC pipe. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it outside, not right now, but when I get ready to actually build the shade cover, I'm going to take it outside and I'm going to use a tape measure, and I'm going to measure along each one, just however tall I want it. I know my bed's 6 foot long, so I'm going to need approximately 6 foot long pieces to go down the side of the bed. But I want it about this high over the bed. I'm going to measure how much. I may have to lower it a little bit depending on how it looks, but what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cut the corner pieces that go up based on the measurements that I take when I go out there to the bed. So that's where the tape measure comes in, and that's what these actual PVC pipes will be. They will be the frame along the side and the top of the structure. Now, to connect the different pieces of the PVC pipe, I have these connectors, 4 of each. I have 4 of these particular connectors, these cross connectors, and then 4 of these what are called elbows. So they're going to be at the sides. Each of the corners I'm going to have one of these, because it's going to help to connect each of the pieces of the bed together, of the shade cover together when I'm done. Then I have just medium grit, 80 medium grit sandpaper. When you cut PVC pipe, you may or may not know this, but it leaves little shards on the end of the PVC pipe. And so I'm just going to sand down the PVC pipe to make it a little smoother and a little bit better able to connect to go into my connectors. All right, so that's where, speaking of cutting the PVC pipe and sanding it, you're just going to need a little saw. This saw will cut the PVC pipe pretty quickly, and so when I actually measure it out, I'm going to use this saw. And then when I actually measure out the sizes I need, I just have a little Sharpie. You can use whatever kind of marker you want just to make the marks on the PVC pipe where you want to actually cut according to your dimensions. And then I have a hammer here. You're always going to need a hammer for most projects, but when I actually put the PVC pipe in, I want to knock it down into the soil a little bit when I have the structure built up. I'm not going to actually connect the structure to the bed, though somebody could do that. I'm just trying to make a structure that's very easy to actually put together and then to disassemble when you don't want to use it. So during the winter time here in the desert, you really don't need a shade cover, and so I will take my shade cover off at that point because it just won't be needed. All right, and then finally, when I actually have the structure all built and actually installed over top of the bed, and I want to put the shade cover there, you're going to need some little zip ties and some type of utility knife. You can use a pair of scissors or whatever. You're just going to have to cut some little slits into the actual shade cloth, and then you're going to use these zip ties to attach the shade cloth to the actual frame with the PVC pipe frame. So that's it. What I'm going to do between now and the next video is I'm going to go out to the bed and I'm going to measure out the PVC pipe to the dimensions that I want, and then I'm going to cut the PVC pipe. And so when we come back together, everything is going to be just like this, ready to go. The only difference is my PVC pipe is already going to be cut by me. Okay, that's going to take a little while, so I'm going to do that between now and the next video. But on the next video, I'm actually going to be assembling all of the bed with the already cut PVC pipe, my connectors, the shade cloth, and the zip ties. I'm going to have it all ready to go to put it together, and I'm going to let you see that outside for video number 3. All right? So thank you all for tuning in. It was good to have you with me today. Looking forward to you coming back and seeing the finished product next time when we put the shade cloth structure together. All right? So until then, keep on 4-H.